The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
At that time, Jesus exclaimed, I give praise to you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth. For although you have hidden these things from the wise and the learned, you have revealed them to the little ones. Yes, Father, such has been your gracious will. All things have been handed over to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and anyone to whom the Son wishes to reveal him. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy and my burden light. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
This gospel is one of my absolute favorites. For one, the words I find very comforting. To hear Jesus speak the words, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest," brings a peace which is necessary, especially in the busyness of society in which we live. It brings us back to a moment of rest in God. Second, this gospel is the reading that is proclaimed in the rite of the anointing of the sick, the ritual in which we gather around someone as a community who may be sick, preparing for surgery, or dying. And we offer our prayers and lift this person up in their time of need. This is the reading that is often proclaimed in the midst of those who are experiencing such suffering. It is the reading that is proclaimed in the midst of families as they gather around their loved one who may be preparing to pass from this life into the next. No matter for what the person is being anointed, this is often the reading that you will hear proclaimed. And it's always amazing to me. Every single time I have been with someone as an anointing is celebrated, something changes. Something happens. There is a tangible presence of peace in the person. And not only in the person, but in the family, in everyone who is there, who is gathered around in that moment. In that room, there is a tangible sense of peace. I think what happens in that room, that tangible sense of peace, even in the face of what is being experienced by the person, is that rest which Jesus speaks of in the gospel. That no matter what we are experiencing, there is always hope. There is always hope. That no matter what we are walking through, there is our loving God who walks with us and gives us rest. It is the rest which we are given every time we return to Christ. It is the rest we find when we come together here as a community. It is the rest which we find in the sacrifice which we celebrate here, this table which we gather around. I think all of us are no stranger to living in such a fast-paced society. There is a constant pulling on us just from the noise that we hear day after day. There's always something happening in the news, there's something happening in the world, and there's just something happening every day. I think all of us are no stranger to the busyness that life brings day after day. Maybe it is in work and we have a difficult time putting down our work. Maybe we feel as if our work is the only thing which gives us our purpose. Maybe there is something that has driven us to the point of exhaustion, on the brink of burnout. Maybe we're dealing with something internally. Maybe we're dealing with something painful in our family in which we find it difficult to find rest, to find that peace which Jesus speaks of. No matter what it is, we are no stranger to the burdens of life. What is it that is burdening you? What is it that keeps you from finding a bit of rest, a bit of peace? What is it that might be weighing you down? Or do you bury yourself in work to hide the pain that you are experiencing? Or do you try to find rest in a society where it's very difficult to find a bit of peace? Trying to find rest in the values of society, a society which is narcissistic and individualistic. We are no stranger to the burdens of life that exist. But there is a way which we are offered to find this peace for which we long, to find this rest which all of us need. It is to take the yoke offered by Christ and place it on ourselves and learn from him. It is to take the yoke offered by Christ and to place it upon ourselves. Now a yoke was usually a harness that was placed over oxen or other animals to ease the work of hauling a load. The two animals who were yoked together, they carried the load together. One didn't do it alone, but instead they both helped each other. This is the yoke which Christ speaks of. This is the yoke which Christ invites us to take. It lightens our burdens. It gives us another with whom we can walk. And it is God himself who walks with us and carries with us these burdens which are heavy. As a community of faith, this imagery of the yoke speaks to the reality of the God who is with us. That God doesn't leave us alone in our challenges of life. As a community of faith, this imagery speaks to the reality that we are a community who journeys with each other, and we walk with each other through our burdens. That the presence of another is more than enough. That we experience the risen Christ in the midst of each other as we take the yoke and place it upon ourselves. It is a difficult journey that we walk, and often I think we're tempted to embrace this journey of life alone, which is what an individualistic society speaks to us, which often says to shut out others and to do this by yourself, which can be why we try to carry these challenges alone at times. But we are invited to live a different way of life. We are called to walk with each other and support one another, strengthened by that sacrifice which we encounter here Sunday after Sunday. We're invited to always let ourselves be led by this loving God. As we continue to walk in this journey of life, will we walk alone, shutting out our friends, our family, or God himself, trying to find rest in the values of society? Or will you take the yoke of Christ and find rest and peace, being transformed by this love? As we continue walking through life, we will continue to face burdens and challenges. But the invitation to place upon ourselves the yoke of Christ is always there. Let us take the yoke so that we can find that peace and rest in our loving God. A peace and rest which continues to strengthen our lives with each other. A peace and rest which draws ourselves and others into a life of love rooted in God. We have a God who has come to us to proclaim peace to the nations, just as the prophet Zechariah declared. May we enter into that peace into which we have been invited by our loving God, by placing upon ourselves the yoke of Christ.